Hello friends, my name is Aradhya Mishra. I study in class 7th. Today I am going to relate a story. The title of the story is Ulysses and Cyclops. Ulysses and his companions once reached an island which, although they did not know, was the land of Cyclops. Cyclops were giant shepherds with only one eye set in the middle of their forehead. They lived in caves and kept great flocks and sheep. Ulysses saw that they did not till the land, but the uncultivated earth produced them rich wheat and grapes. They did not know how to make wine or bread. He, with his chosen party of 12 followers, came to visit of and see what sort of people lived there. They came to a big cave close to the sea. Nobody was there, but the things and the size of the things inside the cave, they could get an idea of the vast proportion of its owner. They found baskets of cheese, bowls of milk, and young lambs playing in the enclosure. The men wanted to take as much cheese as they could carry and return back to their ships, but Ulysses was anxious to see its owner, so they stayed there, eating cheese, drinking wine which they had brought with them. In the evening, their ears were deafened with the noise of something like falling of a house. It was the owner of the cave who was all day out feeding his flocks as he was accustomed and now drove them back home. Ulysses and his men hid themselves in the remote parts of the caves when they saw him. The giant came inside and first he threw the trunk from his shoulder he was carrying for firewood. Then next he bring his sheep back inside the cave and then placed a flat big stone on the entrance to serve as a door. 20 horses will not be able to move that big stone. After that, the giant came and sat on a huge rock which was serving him as a chair. Then he lighted the fire and began to milk his goats. Suddenly, by the glimmering light of the fire, he saw some of the Ulysses men and asked them who they were. No one dared to answer, but Ulysses collected all the courage and answered that they were neither robbers nor traders. They were Greeks returning from Troy and lost their ships on the ways. He asked the giant to show mercy on him in the name of their chief god Zeus. The giant said nothing, but gripping two men as if they were no more than children, he dashed out their brains out against the earth, tore their pieces into limbs and devoured them. Then he drank many bowls of milk and fell among his goats and fell fast asleep. Ulysses took out his sword and wanted to thrust the giant with all his might on his bosom. But Ulysses was afraid that if he succeeded in killing, he would be prisoner in his cave because they would not be able to move that big stone. So that if they are succeeded in killing, they would be prisoners in a cave and will starve to death. So he thought of a plan. The next morning, the giant woke up and ate two more men, drank many bowls of milk, went out with his sheep and again placed the stone door so that no one of Ulysses' companions or him could come out of the cave. But Ulysses had not given hope, because he had made a plan. The giant has left the big trunk of the tree he had brought them for firewood. He cutted a long 6 feet stick, pointed its edges, and instructed his foremen to push it in the giant's eye when he will sleep tonight. In the evening, the giant came and ate two more men, drank many bowls of milk. Before he was going to sleep, Ulysses filled a big bowl of wine he had brought and offered it to the giant. The giant drank one after another and became very cheerful. After that, the giant asked the benefactor's name because he wanted to give Ulysses a present. Ulysses said, "My name is Nobody. My friends and relatives in my own country call me Nobody." Ulysses said cunningly. Then the Cyclops said, that is the kindness I will show to you. I will eat you at the last of all your friends. Ulysses was listening his savage kindness when the strong wine overcame him and he fell down on the ground and went in a deep sleep. Just then Ulysses took out that stick he had made it the pointed of tree. Then he put it in the fire the giant has lighted until it was red hot. Then his foremen took the stick and pointed it to the giant's eye, and then with a great force they pushed it in his eye. The giant roared out and with a great cry and hurled out his stick out of his eye, that stick, and throwed it all over the cave. Then he shouted a great cry that for all the other neighboring cyclops would come and help him. But when the other neighbors asked why he was shouting, the cyclops replied from inside that nobody wants to kill me. The giants out of the cave thought that if nobody is killing him, why is he shouting? Thinking that some disease troubled him, they went off to their sleep. Next morning, the giant woke up and opened the stone door and sat on the threshold of the cave so that not a single man could get out with his sheep. He touched every sheep with his hands and then let them go. But Ulysses also had made a plan. He fastened 3 sheep, and between them he fastened 2 of his men. Because when the giant would touch their backs, the blind giant, if touched their backs, he would only feel their flicky bodies, never dreaming that he carried their enemies. One by one, all the ships went out with his, and always all the men went out. The Ulysses came out also, and then he unfastened all his men and went back to his ship. From there, he shouted at Cyclops. When he saw that they were in a safe zone, he shouted, "If anyone says, 'Who blinded you?' say that it was Ulysses of Ithaca."